Welcome to the Jedislander Vlogcast, not podcast, Vlogcast. This is our second episode. And the issue that we want to talk about today, it came down this morning. Today is Monday, June 4th.
Yes.
Today is Monday, June 4th. And this morning, Supreme Court came to a decision about the situation that happened in Colorado with a Christian baker. He was approached by a gay couple, and they wanted him to make a wedding cake for them. And he refused to do so. And of course, in Colorado, they backed up what the gay couple wanted and said that he had to make them a wedding cake. Mm-hmm. Of course, he chose not to make the wedding cake, and I believe he closed down his bakery.
Yes.
But this was something that was taken up all the way to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the baker. And needless to say, this has caused quite a bit of outrage on one side, a lot of celebration on the other side. And of course, something like this situation when it comes to gay weddings. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's always a dividing line between liberals and conservatives. And so the court ruled in favor 7-2, which is kind of a big, it's kind of a landslide decision when you think about it.
Yes.
When you consider that there's 5 conservative Supreme Court justices and 4 liberal or to the left, however you want to classify these two sides, and that means 2 justices crossed party lines and agreed with the conservative majority.
So basically, you have a sign of both sides being in agreement that the baker in his way was correct.
Yes, and of course, what's big about this is that before all this happened, there was really no precedent set when it comes to this type of situation. And
which is why it was a big deal when it first happened.
Exactly. And so now this sets a precedent, and to be completely a little more honest with this decision too, they're not saying that the baker was 100% completely right. But what they are saying is that the lower courts pretty much went into this not treating the baker fairly.
Yes.
And that was the main thing. That was the actual scope of this argument here. But once again, this does set a precedent now for future cases that may arise, because of course it's always going to be a hot button issue when it comes to same-sex marriages, and
with the renewed relevancy that it got back in 2016, I believe.
Yes, it was 2016 when the same Supreme Court, same justices, were presiding when they said that legal marriage should be legal.
It should be extended to
all 50 states.
Yes.
And so this is the same Supreme Court that made that decision, which once again the opposite sides were celebrating and outrage, except the celebration was on the left and the outrage was on the right.
Yes.
But my whole take on this is, one, I do side with the baker on this situation, and because I believe he truly was practicing his religious beliefs, and when it comes to marriage, he believes in the biblical definition of marriage, as do I, and that he should not be forced to provide something that goes against his own ethics, his own morals, his own religious beliefs, and so on that case, I truly do side with the baker on this.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like it was uncommon knowledge that he was a Christian baker. I mean, that was part of the big portion of the case back when it first happened, that he was a Christian baker.
Yes, and but here's my thing too when it comes to that couple that was getting married. If a baker does not want to provide service to you, does not want to provide that. And it's not that they were completely not providing service, because the report showed that the baker did offer them other cakes, and with that they could go and get the cake designed somewhere else, or they could do it themselves.
Yeah.
But so he was still providing a service to them, but he wasn't going to do a specialty
cake.
A specialty cake for them because it disagrees with his religious beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, so you need to take that into consideration, that they were not being denied service flat out. So he was going to provide a service for them, but just not that specialty cake.
He was even, like you said, he was offering other services for them.
Exactly. So it wasn't one of those, ew, you're gay, I'm not going to provide service. Because then, if that were the case, then that Christian baker, is in the wrong, because he's just flat out denying them service. I mean, imagine this. Let's say there's a black-owned barbecue place, and a known Klansman comes in or makes an order for lunch or something, and although the black business owner knows that this guy's a Klansman, but of course he totally disagrees with him, he still provides him with that service.
Yes.
But that same Klansman comes in and says that he wants to have some kind of Klan rally at his establishment. Then you cannot expect that black business owner to say, to allow them to have that rally.
Yeah.
So, or to cater something that they're having, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So on the same token, you can't expect this baker, he'll provide them, many different services, but you can't make this man go against his own convictions. It's
in the Constitution.
Yeah. So with this, I think this is a win with the Supreme Court. I think they did the right thing. I think they did the correct thing. And I know there's probably people here who are listening who disagree with the Supreme Court case and tell me that I'm going to say that I hate gays and stuff like that, just because that I agree with the baker and I agree with the Supreme Court. But that couldn't be anything further from the truth, because
it has nothing to do with the gay community.
Yeah. So because, and this is where I'm gonna pretty much anger some of my friends on the right here. When it comes to gay marriage, I'm really kind of, I don't want to say indifferent, because one, I do believe in the biblical definition of marriage. It is between one woman and one man. But at the same time, I don't think government should be in the business of marriage to begin with. And this is something where no, I would not attend a gay wedding. I wouldn't provide services for a gay wedding. But I'm not bothered by a gay wedding.
Yeah, it's just we personally don't condone, we don't believe in favor of gay marriages or homosexuality in general, but the way our society and our government is set up, I mean, they have every right to be.
Yeah, so I mean, once again, you can disagree with something, but you don't have to be so all out militant about things either. And my gay friends, because I have quite a few friends who are homosexual, they understand my viewpoint, but at the same time, they know that I love them as well. And I would
understand their viewpoints.
And I understand their viewpoints, and I would take a bullet for each and every one of them if it came down to it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that Supreme Court ruling. And like I said, this is the same Supreme Court justices who voted in favor of gay marriage being across all state lines. This is where you had one member. It was a 5-4 decision where the Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, he's the one that jumped the party lines and sided on the side of gay marriage. And when it came to that, the only thing I was kind of in disagreement with is that the Supreme Court made a law
because they are constitutionally unable to do that.
Yeah, and that's what happened, and constitutionally,
They
That's-
broke the law.
that's wrong. Yeah, they were in the wrong on that. But you know what? It is what it is.
It happened. It was wrong, but it happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't get triggered over it. You know, I disagreed with it, but you know, once again, getting triggered over so many of these things that happen in the Supreme Court, and you know, it's just ridiculous. But okay, so enough with that. I just want to do a quick touch up, just a quick recap. And I know people are so tired of it already, but I just want to recap about the whole, you know, when the whole Roseanne and Samantha Bee tweets went out.
Which I believe we touched up on in the podcast.
Yeah, and the whole just a little update with the whole Samantha Bee thing. It seems like a couple of sponsors pulled out,
Yes.
and you know, pretty major sponsors. I don't want to say which sponsors they are. You can easily look it up which sponsors they were. They pulled out their sponsorship, and viewership is still going down. And
It's just a further sign that she's getting ever closer to cancellation.
yeah, I mean she's just so irrelevant, and it's
Unentertaining.
unentertaining, and like I said earlier, whether it was in the past vlog or in the podcast, I can't remember where I said it, but
I believe it was in the podcast.
the market's going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
So, which it already has been already, because it's you know, the declining viewership, declining ratings, and all that stuff.
I mean, it's been happening way before she did this.
Yeah, so yeah, the free market's going to take care of it, and you know, we don't have to do massive boycotts, because I'm an anti-boycott person, because I feel when you start boycotting companies and the company has to start firing people, it's those who are on the very bottom that get fired first. And so you're adding to the unemployment problem, which is very low right now, but still, when you start boycotting and it really does take effect and they have to start letting go of people, it's the working class that suffers from this. So that's why I don't believe in boycotts. But like I said,
Besides, when it comes to Samantha Bee, what are you actually boycotting?
Yeah.
There's hardly anything there.
so like I said, the market's going to take care of itself in that situation, and hopefully the whole thing with Samantha Bee and Roseanne is over. So I really don't want to hear too much more about it. But hey, that's all we have for now. You can follow our podcast, Jedislander Podcast, on iTunes, and I'm working on getting it on Stitcher and other streaming services so that more people can have access to it. But if you don't have iTunes and you want to give it a listen, just go to podomatic.com and look under Jedislander Podcast. And so till next time, live, love, game, and aloha means adios.